Welcome to Sports Chat. I'm your host, Matt Muncy.
This is Brock Stafford once again.
And we're going to be bringing you the NBA All-Star Weekend today. Something we've been kind of promising you guys for 2 weeks now. And everything is officially up. And we know all the participants in each of the competitions and the game itself. So
Except
we're
for
just
the celebrity game, but who cares?
Yeah, nobody cares about that game. So we're just going to jump right in. And Friday night is the rookie versus sophomore game. And from the looks of it, the rookies are just stacked. You have Eric Bledsoe, DeMarcus Cousins, Derek Favors, Landry Fields, Blake Griffin, Wesley Johnson, Greg Monroe, Gary Neal, and John Wall. Eric Bledsoe and John Wall at point guard, just going to destroy it. Landry Fields and Gary Neal at shooting guard. I don't know who Gary Neal even is. I've never heard of this guy.
He's a shooting guard for
the Spurs.
He's actually been shooting really well, and he plays some good backup minutes for them. So I like Gary Neal for this team because he's really been very productive, and he's another one of those Spurs steals.
And then you got Wesley Johnson and Blake Griffin at small forward. Blake Griffin is just going to dominate this game along with John Wall.
Blake Griffin plays power forward. We've had this discussion.
Whatever, power forward. Sorry, but then who's the other small forward? Would that be Fields?
Really,
maybe?
when it comes to rookie challenges, they
guess,
really don't necessarily have to go for a certain position. As long as they have enough big guys and enough small guys, they kind of just play. Because really, there's only one guy, maybe two, if you consider Fields as a swingman, who are really going to be in that position. But in all honesty, it's mostly power forward centers that you have playing the rest of the big men positions. So
then we have Derek Favors and Blake Griffin at power forward and DeMarcus Cousins and Greg Monroe at center. I think Cousins and Favors, Griffin, Wall, and I'm just gonna throw out there Landry Fields is I think what the starters will be. And
I guarantee you those five guys will start just because those have been the most productive rookies so far.
Yeah, and so then on the sophomore side we have DeJuan Blair, center, Stephen Curry, I'm going to assume point guard, Tyreke Evans, who's injured, so he will not be playing, DeMar DeRozan, shooting guard, Taj Gibson, power forward, James Harden, who is replacing Tyreke Evans. He is a shooting guard / small forward. Drew Holiday, who's another point guard.
Point guard and shooting guard. Holiday can play swingman.
Serge Ibaka, forward center. He's 6'10", so he can do either. Brandon Jennings is obviously a point guard, and then Wesley Matthews, who's a shooting guard. So it looks like the sophomores are pretty point guard heavy.
Well, I mean, that whole class was very point guard heavy. You can just say the whole guard position is really filled out. Difficult thing is, I mean, you basically have three guys who could play the big man position. DeJuan Blair is really not a center. He's 6'9".
Yeah, he's more of a power forward.
He's more of a power forward, and Taj Gibson, again, another power forward who's like 6'9". Serge Ibaka is the only one who could really, honestly, size-wise, keep up with the centers, and he's 6'11", I think, 7 foot maybe.
So the sophomores have names, and they do have a little bit of talent, but I just don't think their talent is going to match up well with the rookies. I think the rookies are going to blow this game out of the water. I'm going to predict at least a 25-point victory for the rookies.
I don't see it being that much, just because you have some serious defensive players on the sophomores teams.
Nobody's going to play defense. Come on.
I know, but wishful thinking. Well, I'm just looking for at some point in the game, you are legitimately going to have three former teammates on the same team.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That is true.
You could have Bledsoe, Wall, and Cousins on the floor at the same time. You put Blake Griffin out there, and I don't know, you have Landry Fields out there with him. I mean, there's no way you could stop that.
You put Wesley Johnson out there? That's another dude you can just throw the ball up to. And
the biggest thing I have about the rookie team is you've got a lot of really high highs. With Cousins, you have Wall, you have Fields. Then you have a lot of guys who are just kind of like so-so. Wesley Johnson, Gary Neal. Greg Monroe's been showing up a lot more. I like Gary Neal, and but I don't think Wesley Johnson is the level. And Bledsoe played good minutes with Baron Davis out, but I mean, I don't know if he's being as productive now as he was. So there's a lot of talent on the rookies team, and I agree with you. They're definitely probably going to win this, but I just don't see it being as big of a victory as you think it's going to be.
All right, so then moving on to Saturday. Saturday night is usually, I think, for most people, the bigger night because we have the skills challenge, the 3-point challenge, and the slam dunk competition. And then you also have the shooting stars competition. I think most people look forward to those events even more so than probably the game itself at some aspects. I think that might change
Well,
this year, but I think in past years that has been that. Starting with the skills challenge. So they finally announced the competitors today. We've been waiting for this for quite a while now. Stephen Curry, Chris Paul, Derrick Rose, John Wall, Russell Westbrook.
and we had discussed this a while ago, and basically these were the five guys that we were hoping and praying that were going to be on the
Yeah.
contest. There's only a couple guys that I could say could legitimately have made this competition. Obviously, Rajon Rondo and Steve Nash being the notable people who were not part of it. Guys like Tony Parker were considered to be part of the competition. I just don't see at this point in their careers that guys like Tony Parker, Derek Fisher. I mean, really,
And it's
I,
it's it's one of those things that we get this in the other competitions as well, and in the All Star game itself. Who is actually picking the participants? And I know the fans get to vote, but who is like, okay, there were 8 members picked for the skill challenge that fans got to vote on. Who picks those players? Why are you leaving Nash, Jason Kidd, Rajon Rondo? Why are these guys being left out of the vote altogether
well,
when they are easily some of the best point guards in the league over Derek Fisher, Tony Parker, and guys like that?
my thing is, they in past years it's guys who haven't wanted to participate, and that's always kind of hurt some of the competition when you have guys who aren't willing to do things during skills challenge. There's guys like Brandon Jennings. Jennings could have been a great competitor, but it all depends on who's going to bring it, and these five guys are definitely going to bring it because I think you've got some of the most talented point guards in our league, and we've got a really deep point guard league right now.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good show, a good competition to kick off Saturday night. So then we move on to the 3-point shootout.
Oh, hold on. Did you put your prediction in?
Oh, my prediction is going to be Stephen Curry is going to win this whole thing, win the skills challenge.
Okay, I can't go with that.
That's fun.
I'm gonna probably have to go with my boy Chris Paul. Chris Paul always is up at the top, and
If I'm not mistaken, he's been in it 3 times and he's yet to win it. Just kind of throwing that one out there.
okay.
Derrick Rose has at least won this.
Okay, Derrick Rose, I think, especially with his evolving shot, I think he might be able to get it done a little bit better. I like Paul. I don't know. He's still trying to deal with that injury, but I'm gonna still stick with Paul.
And watch, it's going to be flipping Westbrook who wins this whole stupid thing.
Or Westbrook has had an amazing year so
Yes.
far. I wouldn't blame him at all for winning it. So
But back to the 3-point shootout. This year's participants include Ray Allen, Kevin Durant, Daniel Gibson, James Jones, Paul Pierce, and Dorell Wright. Crap-tastic. That's all you can say about this 3-point shootout. And this
come
is
on, James Jones was a former Pacer.
that should just tell you how much crap it is. When this dude isn't even a starter for his team, why is he on this competition? He's a
He,
bench
he
player. I don't care. He's a
he's
bench player for the
he's
Heat.
a 3-point shooter. That's the only reason they have him is because he
He's
can knock down shots.
he's a 3-point shooter that is given. He's shooting 423 from 3-point range, but he's 93 of 220. You're not taking that many shots. He's fourth on this list in most 3-pointers taken. To me, this event should be the top 3-point shooters in the league. And that should be based, you should have to take a minimum amount of shots. I would say at least 200 threes should be taken. And then it would be based on your shooting percentage from 3-point range. Ray Allen is shooting 457, and he shot 265 threes. Dorell Wright, I'm assuming all he does is shoot threes because he shot 337 of them, and he's only made 135.
Jarrell Wright was hot earlier in the season. his shot hasn't been there as well. But I mean, he's a streaky shooter. He's like a lot of players. He's like Jason Terry. Gets hot, he's gonna knock down every single shot. But again, that's the problem with 3-point shooters is there's a lot of streaky shooters in this league, and people like to have streaky shooters because if your offense isn't going, you're going to rely on those streaky shooters to come up and win the game for you.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and I mean that makes a lot of sense for in game, but it doesn't make a lot of sense for a 3-point competition. Then you have Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, I would say he's the biggest name on this list. I know Ray Allen and Paul Pierce are also big names, but I think Kevin Durant is the bigger name, and he's the worst 3-point shooter in the competition. He's shooting .338 on the season. He's 91 of 269. That is beyond awful. Why is he in this competition other than name alone? When we could have had Jason Richardson, who, given he's only shooting .387, but it's Jason Richardson. When you think of Jason Richardson, you think of 3-point shooting. Mike Bibby, he's shooting .447. Even Matt Bonner I think he's the best 3-point shooting person in the league right now.
Your complaint is about star power.
No, it's not star.
Like Bonner.
But it's the fact that it should be legit 3-point. Like, it should be based on how you're actually performing. It shouldn't be based on just because of your name. Paul Pierce is only shooting .385. The only reason he's in this is because he was last year's winner.
Here's the thing. You've got to have guys and this is the big problem I have with the 3-point competition every single year. The guys you have in this competition, yeah, they may be good 3-point shooters, they may be streaky 3-point shooters. Problem is, are they set 3-point shooters? And with a 3-point contest, all these shots are set shots. You're not moving around, you're not getting to your spot, you're picking up and you're shooting. That's all you're doing. And while there might be some really good guys who are really good, off the dribble 3-point shooters, I really think the problem with this competition is a lot of those guys aren't going to excel in a competition like this because basically you have to have a set shot for this to work. And the other problem with this competition is there's a lot of guys who have been in this competition who have had a lot of success and they just don't care about doing the competition anymore. I mean, Dirk, he doesn't have anything else to prove in this competition. He's won it like 3 times, right?
No, he's only won it once.
He's only won it once?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, who's had the most 3-point?
That would be Craig Hodges and Larry Bird. They each won 3, and they won them consecutively.
Okay.
They won 6 of the first 7.
Who in the past couple of years, who have been the winners?
Okay, last year was Paul Pierce. The year before that was Daquan Cook. Seriously, Daquan Cook was the NBA 3-point champion. That should just tell you how craptastic this is.
But I think it's cool to see guys who aren't necessarily, the name guys on their team being able to knock down those threes. It makes for an interesting contest. And, you have some really talented guys who are more role players on their team. James Jones is there just to shoot threes. Darrell Wright has been a pleasant surprise because he's been shooting, he shot threes decently well at the beginning of the season.
But you know what? But there are guys like that. Their names are Mike Miller, Kyle Korver. You have those people. Peja Stojakovic. I don't want to see Daquan Cook in this. There's absolutely no reason to put Daquan Cook in this event. Then you had Jason Capono won the 2 before that. Then Dirk won his. Quentin Richardson won one. Vashawn Leonard. Just kill me now. Like the 3-point competition just hasn't been all that great.
It's all about who's hot that night. That's all it is.
Well, and that's fine, but I don't think I don't like the competition. I don't like the people in it. So, barring all that, I think Ray Allen is going to run away with this. He is on fire this year, and he's just going to run away with this whole thing. And it's going to be him and Paul Pierce in the final.
I think you're going to be surprised. I really think it's going to be... I agree Ray Allen is going to take it. I think Durant's actually going to have a good one because he really has a better set shot than he has a lot of times in game. Earlier this year, he wasn't shooting as well. So I'm going to give him, the benefit of the doubt. I really think that kid has some of the best range I've ever seen from anybody. And being such a young guy, he was stroking shots from well beyond the 3-point line in practice. It was just sick watching, some of the things that he is able to do. So I never count him out. So I really think it's going to come down to Allen Durant, but I think Allen's going to take it.